What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode for the Men and Uncaged. If you don't know, this channel is all about the journey to the top 1%. And how do we get there? It's by becoming 1% better daily. That was my little, I don't know. Does that sound like a radio voice? I don't know if it did or didn't. Anyways, today we're going to be talking about failing fast, right? And so I wanted to come out here and say that the faster that you can fail, the faster you can succeed. Obviously, that sounds pretty counterproductive, but so many people get so caught up in taking their time and being timid and trying to take as methodical steps as possible. If you've read my book, One Foot in Front of the Other, you understand that like the forward momentum is what we're looking for, right? And the quicker we can find what direction not to go in, we can get closer to what direction we should be going into. And so MrBeast, love him, hate him, indifferent about him. Dude's a billionaire. Dude became a billionaire off of a YouTube channel, right? And so I pay a lot of attention to him because really data and eyeballs and attention is the monetization tool that he has. And you start to pay attention to what he could, what he's been offered for his channel, and you compare it to like prices of the Super Bowl, right? And again, it all comes down to how do you get things in front of as many people as possible, but specifically the right type of demographic. So I just pay a lot of attention to him. And I like the way he moves. Again, you may not like him. I know there's like a lot of shit that got stirred up not too long ago. But if I'm being honest, out of all the billionaires that I've heard of, I feel like he has the least amount of drama associated to him, but that's neither here nor there. In one of his interviews, he talked about, so a lady was interviewing him, and she's an incredible interviewer. She's a very smart business owner from what I can tell from her content in and of itself. Like she was very well educated and articulated with MrBeast into some really cool stuff. And one of the things that his biggest attribution, like what she learned from him, was the speed in which he moves. And I don't know what it was. It just clicked. It was the same thing. You've heard me reference the Rob Dyrdek quote. He just, MrBeast said this so nonchalantly, but it hit me like a freight train. Same thing with the Rob Dyrdek. Rob Dyrdek was like, the more specific you can be about something, the more successful you'll be at it. And I was like, holy shit, that's mind-blowingly good to be as simple as it is. Simple doesn't always attribute to being easy, right? So anyways, in the MrBeast interview, he said that his attribution to his success is the speed in which they move. Like when literally, like when they fucking decide it's a fuck yes, right? And these are my words, not his. Then they're all in. Like they're already in motion. Like things get decided and voted on, and if it gets passed, they're already ordering shit. They're already planning shit. Sets are already being set up. They're already fucking recording. Like before you even fucking know it. And so while all the rest of what would be his competition is out there trying to plan things and strategize things and come up with all these cool concepts and marketing strategies, they're already done. It's already been rolled out. It's on fucking, streaming channels. It's on his YouTube, you name it. And so if you start to really kind of break down what this looks like and just the speed in which they work, if you were able to think about a decade of time in putting in like hard, good effort, we start to break down like how do we get there with those results quicker. And if you were to really interview yourself, right? If you were able to interview your own successful version of yourself, maybe it's your 10-year senior, and you were able to find a way to sit down with this 10-year older version of yourself and interview yourself, a lot of your successes will have come from your failures. You'll be able to tell yourself like, yeah, we tried X, Y, Z, realized it didn't work. And we kept trying and we kept pushing and we kept growing and we just kept on. And we fucking finally figured it out. We finally fucking cracked the code. And once we cracked the code, it was game over from there. But so many people miss the cracking the code because they get defeated by the failures. When in reality, these failures are the building blocks to getting the answers you need to crack the code. Like, how many of us cheated in high school or middle school on tests, right? Like, what if you had this cheat sheet that gave you the answers? But where did these cheat sheets come from? Most of the time it came from kids that took this lesson or test or quiz before us. They learned what was right, what was wrong. Like you got somewhere, some way, someone got a peek at what questions were going to be asked, and they were able to go find the answers. For us, finding the answers is in testing. Because as long as I've been in marketing, and as many businesses as I've worked with, consulted with, worked for, they're all different. Like, there is no, I don't care what marketer is out there that says that there's some one-size-fits-all marketing strategy to every company or every company inside a specific industry or skill set. There's not. Things change. Branding, messaging, voice, tonality, the fucking faces of the business, the way the customer service works, all of it. So every company is unique. And so as we might have some options on how to move forward and how to strategize specific like playbooks and strategies as far as general concepts, yes, we can have a playbook and we can go by the playbook, but every playbook has to be custom tailored to a specific business or brand, to their specific customer audience. And what happens is the way you find that out is by testing, by trying things. And really, if you start to break down like the terminology of testing means a majority of the shit that you're going to try fails, right? And we have to be paying attention to what works. That's why science experiments use, constants. Like, we have to have things that stay the same so that we can try minute changes, see what works, positive, negatively, maintaining that constant, and then expanding from there. Because throughout life, you're going to get thrown curveballs. Things are going to happen, and you're going to fail. But there are lessons inside of those failures. And so the way to ensure that you will follow that same suit and meet failure again is by repeating the same cycles without documenting what you learned, without finding the true lessons inside of this quote unquote failure, right? And so for us, as we start to go through this, we start to fall in love with failing. And maybe it sounds counterproductive, but it's the same thing like when I'm motivating sales teams, right? When we start tracking these KPIs and we start tracking what their conversion rates are and what their upsells, downsells, cross-sell percentages are, what the lifetime value looks like, what the referral rates look like, we start to really break down all this stuff. These no's actually contribute to a numerical dollar amount in your pocket. And when you start to understand that, it actually gets exciting. Because the more no's that you get, you become that much closer to a yes, right? If it takes you 100 no's or 99 no's to get to that one yes, when you're on fucking no 73 or 75, like you only have 24, 25 more no's to get to until you get that yes. So if you were able to take what your commission rate is for the one yes and divide it evenly over the 100 people that you had to contact, every time you get a fucking no, you just start smiling because you know that like that just contributed to your commission check, right? And the same goes with your failures. If you can move from a failure quicker and get to the next failure sooner, that 10-year version of yourself, you might be able to have that conversation in 5 years now, right? Because if we can start to understand that failing faster is a good thing, when we are extracting lessons out of the failures and applying it to how we move forward after the fact, we get to actually decrease the time to market. the time to finding that one key that just unlocks everything for us. I had the conversation with Jaybird and Ace literally this week, talking about like honing in on Uncaged true ideal demographic is finding men specifically that care about personal and professional development, but even more so that actually truly understand the value of investing into themselves. I literally just got off the phone with Andrew Hourigan. I've had the conversation with Corey Jacobson. Also had the conversation with Heather, my wife, and Chrissy Wolf. You know, we have these programs inside of Uncaged that we're in the middle of beta testing for additional tiers inside of the VIP program to get yourself like an actual pillar coach, someone that's dedicated to helping you in your health and fitness, someone that's dedicated to your wealth and investments and securities, and someone that's dedicated to helping you in your relationships with both your spouses and your children. And you start to break some of these things down and finding the demographic of the men that are willing to invest not in the program, right? And this is the conversation that I've had with a lot of the team members, is these people aren't paying for daily check-ins and weekly scorecards and these different assets and these workout and diet plans, or, you know, these budgeting systems, these investment strategies, and these, wealth hacks or securities, these, relationship, scorecards, these check-ins, these levels of accountability, like these date night ideas and strategies, and from, a babe's mouth, right? Like, they're not paying for these assets. Those assets come with it, right? But with Uncaged, understanding like true accountability and us holding men's feet to the fire and saying like, you're going to do what the fuck you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. It now is not about the assets that they're investing in. It's the results that come from doing the fucking work, right? So you're not investing for a health and nutrition plan. You are investing in 5% lower body fat, or 18 pounds, lighter, or 12 pounds more of muscle, or 6 inches off your waist, or whatever the case is, right? You're not paying for these budgeting systems and these investment strategies. You're paying for the fact that if something were to happen to you, you've got long-term and short-term options, right? You've got life insurance, you've got short-term disability, you've got IULs, whatever the case is. You have these backup plans, your relationships. You're not paying for some of these insider hacks from these women. You're paying to get laid more. You're paying to have a stronger connection with your wife. You're paying to have true enjoyment out of life itself on having a true life partner. Like, that's what you're investing in. And so when you start to understand these things, and you start to understand that there is a give and a take with getting what you want out of life, these are the type of men that we're trying to find, right? The men that understand that, the men that get this, the men that understand the power of the law of averages and surrounding yourself with like-minded men. That's who we're going after. And for us, we are trying to hurry up and find who not to talk to, right? Because the longer we spend time talking to people that doesn't make sense for what we're building, we're robbing that time from the people that need to hear this stuff. The people that truly need a brotherhood like Uncaged. The men that truly need to improve themselves in all areas of their life, both personally and professionally. Again, like the 6 pillars that Uncaged is founded on. Health, wealth, and relationships being the first 3 of their type, being the 3 largest industries in the world, telling us that statistically the most amount of men or people in general need the biggest amounts of help in those areas, right? So the longer we spend time talking to people that don't understand that they need to focus in improving their current situation, which statistics tell us that they're in a bad situation, but we can't convince them of that. They have to know that. There's a difference. I'm not going to get all the way into it, but there is a difference between people being, really unaware, and then you have problem aware, product aware, or you're unaware to problem aware to solution aware to product aware. But like some of these people that are unaware, I'm not going to say it's not our place to help them, but it's definitely not our place to convince them. Because the more that we're begging and pleading someone else, there's someone else that's actively looking for a solution to their problem that Uncaged could help. And we missed them because we were too busy trying to convince someone else that grass is greener on the other side once you actually dedicate yourself fully to personal and professional development. So a big part of what Uncaged has been doing is putting out a lot of content and seeing what people are connecting with, what people aren't connecting with, but throughout that process, trying to dial deeper and deeper and deeper into our ideal demographics so that we can get the right message to the right person at the right time. And so for us, it's honestly, it's as how quickly can we find the wrong people to talk to so that we will get that much closer to finding the right people to talk to, right? And so for you, I don't know what this looks like for you. You know, because we focus on health, wealth, and relationships, like, is this maybe finding, like, genuinely paying attention to the wrong foods that you're eating? Like, oh, I tried that and I'm bloated, or I'm not feeling very good, or it gave me brain fog, or it upset my stomach, or whatever the case is, right? And we're talking on a very elementary level. We're not necessarily talking about, you know, doing DNA tests and food sensitivity tests and stuff like that. You'll learn about a lot of that in the 30-day challenge. If you haven't taken it, I highly suggest you take it. Hit myself up or any of the other VIP members. But how quickly can we find out what your body doesn't react well to? Because for me, and I had this conversation with Heather, we were going over our supplementation regimens, our morning and our evening routines. You know, what supplements does our body interact with better in the morning versus in the PM, specifically to our own bodies, because again, there is no one size fits all. We've got to, it's our responsibility to make sure that we are as optimal as possible. And a lot of this was found through trial and error, which means we failed at something and we found a solution to improve on it because we learned the lesson that was inside of that failure. And so for us, or what I was telling Heather is, I typically, whether it's a new supplementation, a new diet, or specific tweaks from a holistic standpoint, is I don't necessarily always notice the change as soon as as I start consuming. But say I run out of that supplement or that product or whatever the case is, I can tell once my body stops receiving that. Whereas Heather's is a little bit opposite. Heather gets an immediate reaction. Her body reacts immediately to whatever gets thrown into her system. And so there's an interesting dynamic there on the way we have to test things, the way we have to figure out if it is a failure or not. I have to get it in my system, get it past, you know, whatever the shelf life is, and I have to maintain it long enough for it to actually make a difference to me. And then I have to see what coming off of that looks like, whether it be cold turkey or, you know, I work myself off, whatever the case is. But for me, this is like, how do we hurry up and fail at this? I want to feel as optimal as possible. I want to be as efficient as possible. So for me, I had to figure out how to fail faster so that from a health standpoint, I could improve. Longevity, feeling, mental, you name it. And then when you move over to wealth, you know, it took financial literacy is man, it's so missed in this world. That's why we're so big on it inside of Uncaged, all these different strategies. And again, there's no one size fits all. We had to work very, very hard, admittedly fucking up a lot with our finances until we fucking figured out what worked. And I was literally just thinking about this, and I wasn't planning on mentioning this on this episode, but we finally, like, we're only a month in to this new financial strategy. So we're running, you know, the profit first for our business. And before I get a bunch of DMs, like, I understand profit first isn't for everyone, but it has a time and a place. Just like Dave Ramsey ain't fucking for everyone. A lot of people don't like Dave Ramsey, and I'm here to attest. I do not, for the general gen pop, it's successful. And listen, I went through it. I listened to over 300 hours of his content. I could tell you verbatim when anyone calls into his radio show what his response is going to be. And it worked well for us. At that time in our life, we outgrew it. We honestly fucked up a lot after we outgrew that. But we were on to new levels, new devils. And so financially, we had to stumble a lot to figure out what worked for us. We went to Profit First. From Profit First, we, something that Andrew Howergans actually talks a lot about as a financial advisor. We went to, so similar to the Profit First inside the business, our household runs very similarly. So it's savings first and then everything else. And so, but I want to say, like, we fucked up more than I would be willing to admit financially until we figured out what worked. But now that we figured out what works, like, my relationship's stronger than it ever has been because I have no financial strain. I look at our bank accounts twice a month now. That's it. And everything's handled. But it's because we had to fail until we could find the system that worked for us. Now that we have that system, my life has changed for the better. Now, again, to be devil's advocate, anti-guru club, like, not everything that we say is going to work for you, but if it at least points you down the right direction, then I'm happy for that. But I'm not to say that this is the end all be all for us. At some point, we might outgrow the Profit First system, and then it's on to the next. I don't know. But regardless, we found what worked for us because we failed so many times, but we were paying attention to the failures and we were appreciating those failures. Fuck, this didn't work again. What did we learn from it? Okay, cool. How do we move forward and apply what we learned? Same thing with our relationships. We tried a lot of different things in our relationships. Some worked, some didn't work. But we derived the lessons out of it. And I'll be the first to admit, this past co-ed retreat, this couples retreat we had with Uncaged, really, Heather and I got our asses chewed out multiple times throughout the weekend for things that we needed to be doing better. And it opened our eyes to some new ways of trying things. We found we had failed enough that it was time for us to be open and honest and vulnerable and asking for other like-minded men and women that we look up to and call family to point out new opportunities and new ways of communicating. And I'll tell you, our relationship has been better than it has been in a very long time. Not a very long time. We've had a great relationship, but we literally just improved a great relationship by this much more. But it's what's incredible is we grow by this much more and this much more and this much more and this much more. But the thing is we were paying attention to what was failing in our relationship. Hey, my defensiveness comes out when this happens, or I get triggered when this happens. And we start learning how to communicate because what previously we attempted did not work as well as this does. And again, it might not work for you. Heather and I are very straight to the point with each other. We're very blunt, and some couples just can't handle that right now. It's what works for us. But we were able to pay attention to the failures and appreciate the failures in our relationships and past relationships so that we can enjoy the successes now. So I don't know what it is that you're dealing with in the areas of your health, wealth, relationships, making money, saving time, our 6 pillars in Uncaged. I don't know if that's personal development or professional development that you're struggling with right now. But if there's one piece of advice that I could try to give you is try to start failing faster. And obviously that's tongue in cheek because the goal is success. Like inside of Uncaged, we focus on solutions, not problems. But you're going through things, you're struggling with things for a reason. There's a lesson there that you haven't learned. And it's literally your responsibility to figure out what the fuck that lesson is, extract the lesson and apply it to your future so that you can move forward and come to another fork in the road. I mean, and this is the way, like, you're going down a journey and you come to a fork in the road. It's going to be a right or wrong. If you go down the wrong, guess what? Boom, that tells us this is the right way. You go down this route for a little bit, another fork on the road. There's going to be a right and a wrong way, right? You try the wrong, it tells you that this is right. This next option is right, and you keep going and you keep going. Or maybe the fork in the road is multiple different avenues. You try this way, it's wrong. 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 But every time you get more and more excited because now your chances of success are much higher. And so for you, I urge you to start falling in love with your failures, because that will correct the dedication that you have to finding that success so much more glorious, so much more exciting. You know, we say inside of Uncaged a lot that perfect procrastination, or pardon me, immediate action over perfect procrastination. This is what we're talking about. Just get in there and fucking get started and fucking fail and learn from it, and then fail again and learn from it, and fail and fail and fail and fail and fail until you succeed. And then once you succeed, you're at that new chapter of your life. And then you're going to try again. You're going to fail. 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 And then you're going to succeed. Boom. New chapter of your life. Fail, 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 fail. Succeed. Fail, fail, fail. Succeed. Fail, fail, fail. Succeed. Now we are starting to shorten that distance into our ultimate success of our dream life that you worked through in the 30-day challenge, right? Like, this is what we're trying to do. We are trying to get to our goals quicker by failing faster. I know it sounds counterproductive, but I promise you, when you start actually doing this and applying this, going back to the MrBeast analogy and like just moving everything with speed, faster than your competitors, faster than your demons, faster than anything that's going to be able to catch up to you. If you can move faster, you will win quicker. It is literally just, it's science. And I mean, you have to be vigilant with this. You have to be paying attention, and you have to be efficient. If you need any help with this, please reach out to myself, any of the VIP members. Get plugged into the VIP program, guys. It's fucking $97 a month. You spend it on worse. I'm telling you, it'll change your fucking life. You just have to decide if your life is worth $97 a month to be changed. Once you let that click and you realize that you need to start failing faster, we're here for you. I want to see you succeed, and that's why I want to see you start failing. I wanted to see you fail faster so that you can get to the success sooner. So, guys, if you appreciated this, please give me a comment, share it, give us a like, reach out to us, myself, any of the pack leaders, and the VIP members. We're here to help you, but I appreciate you for spending the time listening to this, and I'm truly, truly, genuinely want to hear what this means to you. We'll talk soon.